First, I would call on Mr. William White.
Mr. Mayor, I don't usually read to people, but I believe I read so there's no misunderstanding of what I'm going to say. I want you to see.
Please talk into the mic when you get over there. Thank you.
Mayor Dowdy, members of the City Council, my name is William O. White, Jr. of the firm of Wellman, White & Wilson, 6 PLLC. We're located at 644 Roanoke Avenue, Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. I am pleased to speak in favor of the amendments to the Land Use Ordinance as proposed by the Planning Board and the public staff. As previously stated to you and to the Planning Board, we represent a newly created limited liability company that wishes to lease the Roanoke Rapids Theater with an option to purchase. Not any of the principals of this limited liability company is local to Roanoke Rapids, Halifax County, or North Carolina. When the city decided to pursue a theater in 2005, at the request of the city and the local government commission, I was involved heavily in the selection of the firm, Economics Resources Associates, to prepare the feasibility study for the theater. The feasibility study, dated April 15, 2005, stated that the theater would be a, quote, market viable attraction concept, close quote, provided that certain assumptions were met. The first assumption was as follows, and I quote, key elements of the larger proposed development, including 2 hotels, at least 200,000 square feet of retail, and additional entertainment/amusement opportunities are operational by the time the theater is opened, close quote. We all know the history since 2005. The economy suffered a serious downturn, the theater has not been successful, and as a result, the city has attempted to operate a theater that it was never intended to manage. If electronic games are permitted as an accessory use in the theater, my client intends to negotiate in good faith quickly with the theater for an acceptable lease with an option to purchase. The availability of electronic games is an additional marketing tool for the theater. As stated to the Planning Board, if my client wanted to operate only an internet cafe, it could acquire land in Halifax County or Northampton County where there are no limitations on hours of operation or alcohol sales if properly permitted, and where there are no license fees. The theater will not become an internet cafe. All we're requesting is what the Planning Board and public staff has recommended as amendments to the Land Use Ordinance, and specifically to permit up to 15% of the total area as an accessory use. If the city wishes to restrict the accessory use to 10% for the term of the lease, then we will resolve that issue during the lease negotiations. My client has the resources to ensure that the theater will succeed. When it does succeed, my client intends to be instrumental in the expansion of the theater and the development of the entertainment district as contemplated in 2005. We applaud the public staff's recommendation that provisions A and E of section 151-171 be deleted. If the city wishes to permit electronic gaming operations or internet cafes in the entertainment overlay district, my client welcomes any additional development around the theater. Your approval of the amendments to the Land Use Ordinance as proposed by the Planning Board and the public staff with the 15% limitation is requested. I shall be happy to attempt to address any questions the members of City Council may have.
Questions at this time of Mr. White? No questions. Thank you, Mr. White.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Payne?
Thank you. My name is Gardner Payne. I own an internet cafe, S&G Halifax Incorporated, which is at 291 Premier Boulevard. Apologize for my attire. I think when I've been before here in the past, I've been more professional. But my family's were vacationing at the beach, and I forgot to bring a suit. Or you had purposely left one out, so my wife wouldn't realize at the point that I was having to leave during a couple of days of our trip. But nonetheless, I apologize. I won't belabor the point. Our attorneys, I know, have sent letters to each of you outlining our concerns. Just quickly, we really have two areas of concerns. First, I've lobbied and worked on behalf of internet cafes and business centers for a number of years, and I don't know if you have been watching the debate at General Assembly, but this type of project generally has flown in the face of where potential regulation seems to be heading. I mean, any regulation discussed this past section prohibited alcohol sales, would limit the number of terminals, would try to reduce the casino-style atmosphere, which I think this project will be. We normally, at the General Assembly, always talk about the bad actors, and the bad actors are normally the people that come in. There's a few around the state that have 200 or 300 piece terminals. I think there's consensus among most of the legislators that that's not what the direction the state wants to go in. So I think very well next session in January you could hear, Roanoke Rapids being talked about as a bad actor, because that's sort of who they talked about. I don't know that for sure, but it could go that way. But generally, there's been a lot of talk about internet gaming or electronic gaming. That wouldn't be legal. These are supposed to be sweepstakes where you purchase the product of value and you play the sweepstakes for free. And we would certainly, I think, would be prudent that you would require in your ordinances that we each show you our lab results to show you that we are truly sweepstakes with a predetermined finite pool. And that's what makes this legal, and it's at the best interest of the consumer as well. But the main issue we have is a level playing field, and I appreciate what's been suggested tonight to sort of level that out. We don't think that any one group should have an unfair advantage against the rest of the private industry that's been here for a number of years, employing people with local contracts and trying to support the community. So we appreciate what's been done. I mean, we're really just working in a world right now of rumors, of not knowing sort of what's out there and what's not. I mean, my attorney told me today that he thought that there was going to be some change in the tax regulation. I don't know if that's true or not, but the way he described it, we would be very much opposed to. I paid almost $50,000 in taxes. He said that he thought the tax would be capped at $80,000. I don't think it's fair for someone to come in with hundreds of terminals and only pay $80,000 when I have just a small percentage of that and I pay $50,000. I mean, if they're going to have to pay a lesser share based on today's formula, then I should have to pay a lesser tax as well. I'm not saying I should, but I'm just saying that they should, I should. It should be a level playing field all the way around. And certainly if they're talking about buying the theater, they have the ability to pay the full tax. I think it's probably in the city's best interest that they pay the full tax. Again, that might not even be on the table. That's just what our attorneys had mentioned might be an issue. And certainly that would, if that is an issue, that was something I can get them to send an additional letter outlining our concern about the disproportionate fairness in the tax. Why would I pay over half of what they're paying and they have 5 times the number of computers that I have? So I appreciate what the planning department has done, and we really support that to help make that a level playing field. I just do think this project sort of flies in the face of the general theme of where regulation is headed, and I would certainly ask if taxing is becoming an issue for there to be fairness with the taxing as well. And I would certainly suggest that you include in your ordinances that all of us that have an internet cafe or offer these sweepstakes promotions in the city should show you our lab results that shows you, affirmatively that we are truly, in fact, offering a legitimate sweepstakes.
Thank you, Mr. Payne.
Yep.
Mr. Moore, you signed up on both sheets. Did you have anything else you want to comment on? Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak during the public hearing portion of the meeting? If there's not, I would move that we close the public hearing at this time.